Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're diving into something really cool and really new from our friends at Two Notes Audio Engineering. If you're not familiar with Two Notes, where the hell have you been? I've got to state it immediately, I am a massive fan of Two Notes. I use their torpedo capture to bring my tube amps down to level to be able to record them in the studio. And I also am one of the early adopters of the Cab-M and subsequently the Cab-M Plus. I found it gave me both live and, again, in the recording studio, all the convenience that really I needed without sacrificing that much tone in terms of getting a real cab experience when playing the guitar. And it's not only how it sounds, but it's also how it feels. And Two Notes really were at the forefront of developing that technology. Now, coming back to today's video, they have done really what was so logical for them to do. Because they've got all that skill, they've got all that know-how, they've got all that technology, they've got those years behind them. Well, they've now done a full guitar plugin suite. This is an all-in-one guitar rig that has virtual amps, cabs, effects, studio processing, EQs, the more the merrier. It's really a complete package in a very nice and easy to download and to operate plugin. Now, on that note, just before we move on to looking at the actual interface, I just want to say one thing. Two Notes have consistently through time been very, very supportive and very, very good with their fans. They really have shown that, the fans come first and provide really, really valuable input to what direction they should take, what new products they should develop, etc. And one of the things that they've just shown with the Genome is that if you are the owner of any Two Notes hardware products like the Torpedo, Cab-M, the Opus, any of the preamps, etc., they will give you a completely free and full license of their brand new Genome plugin. So it's a small gesture, I think, but it's really smart. And look, a lot of companies don't do these things. A lot of companies just think about, the money and squeezing the money out of their customers as much as they can. I think that this is a great gesture on Two Notes' part. I also think that the way they incorporated your existing cabs, so if you had a Two Notes wall of sound library and software with some cabs that you had purchased, they will automatically move on to Genome. And it's just really smart. It's done very, very well with, quite frankly, the end consumer in mind. So they're trying to make it really easy for you to stay into this ecosystem of Two Notes products. And you know what? It works really well. So let's move on to the actual interface. Looking at the actual plugin, as you can see, it's very simple. It's very clean, like all the Two Notes stuff. Very good graphics, but it's not over the top. It's just clean, it's professional, it has everything you need, but it's not overly complicated. What you get is a normal effects chain that you expect in most of these plugins by now. And so if we start off with the amps, you get a number of amps here. So what you have is 12 Two Notes versions of very famous amps. So for example, you have the kind of Marshall-ish amp, you've got a Fender, you've got a Mesa, you have a Vox. all, very important to note, with the same EQ section. So regardless of whether the original amp had it or not, all of these amps have bass, middle, and treble. And this for me is a really smart thing because it makes it easier, makes it consistent to move across amps. And even if, for example, you're using two amps, it makes it very easy to get your bearings and know exactly if you want one amp to be more mid-heavy, one amp to be more bass-heavy, etc. So I do like the fact that they've kept a consistent 3-band EQ across all of these amps, even if they didn't originally have them. In addition to these 12 amps, you also get the A power amp, which is called the TSM power amp. So this is just a power section if you want to use it with either something external to this, or if you want to use it with a preamp that has been loaded into the possibly most exciting part of this ecosystem, which is the Codex part. Now, Codex, you will see, and please go over to the Two Notes website because they have a far better explanation of what Codex is than I can. But essentially, it's the kind of equivalent to tone capturing. It's loading up of individual captures, if you wish, of these various amps, guitar effects, power amps, preamps, etc. So you've got a certain amount here, a number of different amplifiers, all with slightly modified names not to get sued or any copyright issues, but you can probably find out what they are. You get a number of pedals already, but most importantly, like most competitors, they also have a download function where you can go and download additional amps, additional pedals, etc. So really, there's a lot there. Moving on to the right, then you have the whole Dyne IR side of things, which if you're familiar with the Wall of Sound plugin, it's essentially replicating that. So you have exactly the same setup as you have there. Again, if you already purchased in the previous Wall of Sound plugin some cabinets, they will show up once you log in your menu. So very, very easy, very nice and easy. You can also load up custom IRs if you have any. Then it's all up in the air. You can choose whatever you want. You have delay, various number of drives, dynamics, so a compressor, volume pedal. You have 2 EQs for guitar, 1 for bass, an enhancer, which works really, really well. All the modulation you want. You have reverb, which is also a studio reverb, and it's very good. You have what everyone loves, and I can't live without it, the Studio Twin Tracker, which is really cool. So essentially just pans your guitars right and left, makes it really thick, really good sounding. And then you have a really cool thing. You can put the Wall of Sound part post FX. Obviously, if you want your delay in between your amp and your cab, then you put it there. So you just put it there, but you could move it to the end, etc. So like most of these, you can decide where in the chain you want all your items. Another really cool feature is that at any of these points, you can split and have stereo rigs. So you can have 2 delays, you can have 2 cabs, you can do whatever you want. Very, very cool. Final thing I do want to talk about is the presets that they give you. One of my biggest gripes with a lot of modeling and plugging amps are the presets. The presets I find generally are crap. They're really bad. You maybe get 1 or 2 out of 50 that are decent. I've got to say, Two Notes have made some really, really good standard presets. So you get a lot of them. I think there's, well, let me count. I'm currently up to 130 standard Two Notes presets between guitar and bass. But then you click on Bank B and then get all the artist presets, which are really cool. These can be various people, from YouTube personalities to more famous guitar players to producers, etc. I've got to say there's a real cool variety of people doing it in different styles. Just overall, it's really, really good, and you get a wide variety of user presets. So people that actually play guitar every day, do it for a living, and know exactly what they're doing. So that I was really, really impressed with the kind of people that they got to do these presets. So just to wrap it up, overall, you've got at the top a tuner, you've got a noise gate, which is very handy, and finally a nice automation button where you can assign any of these slots to the various items on your chain, which again is very, very cool. One of the really clever aspects of the Genome design is how Two Notes integrates all these best features from the various different products that it had, from the flattering tone enhancer to the cabs, everything that they have learned throughout kind of the various product stages and products that they released on the market, they've put into here. Another side of it, the tube stage modeling, what they call the TSM, is really, really quite good. This engine is all about the tube amp emulation. It's presenting players with a dozen or so pro-grade emulation of preamps, and then gives you all the kind of flexibility to sculpt the sound and get it right according to your own gear. Another really, really cool thing about Genome, as I mentioned when we were looking at the actual software, is the capture side of things. So obviously this all started, I guess, with Kemper, but now you have the Tone X, you have all these companies working on capturing rather than emulating, or doing both at the same time. But where Genome is different is that it's actually compatible with a major third-party capture formats. So for example, Neural Amp Modeler, AdaX, Proteus, etc. And it does present players the ability to not only download all these captures that other players have made, but also edit further these static captures to their own liking. So it does really open up a whole different world, and it incorporates it really neatly in this one package. So you kind of have the best of both the amp modeling and the capture side, and you can freely mix and match those to your own liking. So in conclusion, Genome by Two Notes is a really comprehensive software for guitarists and bassists. It offers everything you may want, but it gives you so much flexibility and so much versatility in terms of mix and matching, in terms of getting your own unique sound. This is really, I think, as close to a valve amp or a physical amp experience as you can get in a plugin. Quite frankly, you need to dial them in. So it's not a ready mix plugin. It's not one of those ready mix plugin where everything is already dialed in for you. Just shove it in the mix. Here you need to dial it in. You need to work on it. You need to work on the settings, but it's not done in a complicated way where you kind of are going through menus. It's done in a very simple, very logical way, like you would do in a normal amp. So I really highly recommend this. Even if you don't have an existing Two Notes hardware product, then go onto the website, try it out first of all, and then I think it's 79 euros. So it's very, very affordable actually. If you think about everything that you get with this, it's incredibly affordable. So we are very lucky to be able to play this amazing plugin. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you guys have tried it out, what you think of Two Notes generally. If you can, subscribe, like, comment, do all the business, because it does help me so I can bring more videos, I can get more companies to come on the show, I can speak to cool people and get more content for you guys ultimately. So thank you as always for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you've got any questions, shoot them in the comments. And as always, please be nice to each other. It's a beautiful world. Let's all be cool and rock on.